Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we doing? It's Wednesday, it's 5 o'clock, so that's why I am here to help with any chemistry woes that you might have. I know that ASs, you're in the kind of throes of things at the moment. You're right in the middle of your AS exam, so if you've got any AS people watching, then let me know how you're getting on. How was your paper one? It is just under 2 weeks until a full A-level paper one as well. So you know what? That's going to be, yeah, creeping up very, very quickly. All right. So I'm here just to kind of talk about paper one, anything paper one. And yeah, just to kind of allay any fears you might have or answer any questions you might have regarding the papers, regarding the specs, regarding, best ways to revise stuff. Oh, don't be Gemma. How are we doing? Don't be scared. Please don't be scared. I'm here to help. There's so many people doing it as well. As I mentioned previously, in other weeks, it's just a case of, getting ahead of the competition. That's all it is. Okay. It's about scoring more points than the other students doing A-level chemistry, and you're going to end up with those top grades there. Okay. Zane, I am so pleased to hear that. Thank you very much for the feedback. All right. I really, really appreciate that. I'm glad they're helping, just straightening things out, taking away any doubts that you might have about the topics or how you answer questions and so on and so forth. Adina, paper one wasn't too bad. What exam board was that, Adina? Which one were you doing? Because it might be a case that some exam boards are quite nice, some exam boards weren't quite nice. What's my prediction? Well, I did do a whole YouTube video on predictions and stuff like that. So for A-level chemistry, I did my predictions. I went through all the other past papers and kind of checked through them and said, right, okay, well, these are where the points usually lie. These are where most of the marks lie in terms of topics and stuff. And so, yeah, go and check that out if you haven't seen that already, okay? Xito, hello. When will you start smashing out past papers 24/7? Still brushing up on content. Now. Absolutely now. Okay, you should have been kind of dipping into past papers already. If you haven't already, you need to start like yesterday. Okay, because right now it's about applying what you know. Okay, the time for putting stuff in your brain has been and gone. The time for actually practicing taking things out and having a go at questions, that's been probably the last month, to be honest with you. Okay. So that's what we need to be doing right now, is practicing past paper questions. TT method, don't forget, have a go of a full paper, mark it, okay, in timed, closed book conditions. And then when you mark it, when you analyze it, then those are the topics you need to work on. Okay, work on those topics, do the same paper again the following day. That's the way forward. Absolutely the way forward. Okay. PDF is out for the web class. I've learned my lesson. That is gone. That is done. That is uploaded into the web class as we speak. Resonance stability. Now, I could tell you about resonance stability, but you just genuinely do not need to know it. It's not in any spec that I've come across, AQA, OCR, Excel. As far as I'm concerned, just ignore that. Okay. For all three subjects, how many papers to do a day? It's not about how many you do. You definitely want to have done all of the ones for your exam board. You want to have done those 9 papers that you've got access to for your exam board, for sure. Okay. I would say at least twice, each of them twice. So, I mean, it's, whatever ones you've done so far, whichever ones you haven't done, make sure you do. That's what I would say. Okay. Habiba, watching with your dog. That's Ace. Dexter's listening behind the big screen behind me. All right. He usually comes to say hello, but he's, I don't know, he's a bit tired. We've been for a run this afternoon. So there we go. Now, why do you get greater heat loss at higher temperatures in calorimetry? Do you get greater heat loss at higher temperatures? Not necessarily. I wouldn't say so. I think if you're heating water and you start at a higher temperature, not all of that energy is transferred into water, because water can only get to 100 degrees. You can't make it any hotter. So at a higher temperature, the water can't absorb any more heat energy. That's probably why you get more heat loss at higher temperatures. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. This is what I want to do today. We've only got like another 25 minutes or something, but we've got 23 of you in the room right now watching this YouTube video. I would like you to share good practice. Now, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, doesn't matter. Have any of you done something like used a particular revision technique for a particular topic, or have learned something that's made something click in your mind and think, oh, I've got that now? Okay. Is there something that you have done or that you've seen or that you've written or read? You know, what is it? I want to share some good practice today, okay? Because whatever, we've all had a eureka moment. I'm sure we have as we've been revising and something's clicked. So if you've got some good practice, if you've got maybe a good mnemonic or a good method for revising something or something like that, put it in the chat. I want you guys to share. I'm not the font of all knowledge. I don't know everything. I'm happy to learn as well. But today I thought we could share a few tips and tricks in the chat, okay? So if you've got anything good, pop it in there, okay? Share the love. It's all, you know, I know technically they're the competition, but you know what? That's why we're here. We're all here to help each other out at the moment, aren't we? Yeah, that's the reason. So why it was better to do it between 40 and 60 rather than 60 to 100, because water, you can't actually heat water to greater than 100 degrees. So if it tips over, okay, you reach that glass ceiling there, you can't actually measure any further temperature change. There's no more delta T, is there? It gets to 100, that's it. It could technically be releasing more energy, but you wouldn't know because you can't measure the temperature above 100 degrees. So that's why. Oil rig, I use oil rig all the time. I learn it in school, and yeah, absolutely. Whenever I'm doing electrochemistry and looking at the half equations and stuff, every single time oil rig's going around in my brain, absolutely. Old past papers, Chelsea, just to answer that question, I would say yes, but be careful, okay? Because obviously they've changed their question style. There's not so many practical questions in there now, but in terms of calculations, you can't go wrong, okay? So if you want to practice calculations, yeah, old spec papers, you can do that, okay? Can't find the mark schemes and question response videos for the 2018 Chem videos. They're definitely all in there, Chelsea, okay? As far as I'm aware, they're all uploaded. The analysis, response, and mark scheme videos are all where they should be in the revision kit. If there's one in particular you can't find, let me know and I'll check it out, okay? Labeling each calculation makes things really clear. Absolutely. I always label like, right, I've got a volume of NaOH, so V NaOH, or concentration of HCl, CHCl. It just makes a, you know, I almost sometimes do a list down the side of the data that I've got to work with. And that way you can see a clearer path through those calculations sometimes, okay? Rewriting colors and equations to memorize transition metals, knowing the electron configurations. Yeah, okay, that's really good. I mean, transition metals and complexes and stuff, that's just one part of the course that is, you just have to learn parrot fashion. There's no two ways about it. Flashcards are really good for that as well. You know, it saves you writing it out over and over again as well, and you can test yourself real quick with flashcards as well, whether you know the formulae, whether you know what happens when you add NaOH dropwise, if anything else happens when you add it excess, you know, so that's a really good way of doing it. Habiba, if I do a past paper, add it to the document called my past paper review, highlight any topic that I really need to revise well and comments I found in the examiner's report. Just a little thing to remember. Yeah, absolutely. I do that. When I was doing the past papers for the revision kit, I had a little book, and as I went through and I was marking them, at the end of that video, I go to my little book and say, right, okay, I've learned that they ask question in this way, or I've learned that you know, they want this to a particular number of significant figures, or, oh, that was a stupid mistake, don't do that again. Sometimes I give myself little notes telling myself off. And before I do any others, I look at that and just remind myself of the mistakes that I made previously so I don't do them again. Can I switch from Ultimate Guide to revision kit for a $29 a month price? I don't think so, Harris. You need to be an Ultimate Guide, current Ultimate Guide subscriber in order to get that discounted price there, matey, okay? Went from E after slacking off for a long time to an A star in a day. That's insane. Absolutely insane. That's something for everyone to be aiming for. Would you advise new spec? Definitely new spec papers at this point, Jasmine. 100% new spec papers. Once you've done them a couple of times, they're pretty much dead to you. Okay, but try the other exam board new spec papers that we've curated for you. We've taken away all the questions that aren't relevant for your exam board, which leaves quite a lot, to be honest with you. So check those out. And obviously, you know, you got your old spec ones as well. Old spec ones are great for calculations, not really great for much else because the calculations, you can't mess with those. They don't really change those, but there's no Arrhenius stuff in the old spec papers either. But if you want Arrhenius questions, then check out the other exam boards. They've all got them in. For the question, old papers, I meant papers you've already done, like old mocks. Oh yeah, absolutely, Chelsea. Yeah, so a paper you've already done, review it, okay, revise those bits that you didn't do so well on, and then print off a new version and try it again. Absolutely, use all the resources available to you. Mocks that they put together in class for you in school or college, definitely you can use those, 100%. Zed, my chem teacher said I was on fire with answering questions today, an E student to a B student, all because of Rich. Oh, Zed, thank you very much. All right, I'm so pleased. And you know what? If your teachers are noticing, that's awesome. That is absolutely amazing if your teachers are noticing, because that means, you know, you've got more confidence as well. And the fact that you're on it and you're excited and you know this and you build your confidence, and that is, you can't replace that when you go into an exam room. Absolutely. Where can I buy the revision kit? You can go to our website and you can buy the revision kit there. It's, if you're not an Ultimate Guide subscriber, it's £49. I mean, basically, it's just 1 month, isn't it? Okay. I mean, it's less than a month before your exams are over, pretty much. But you know what? You'll have it right the way through the exams. And from what I mean, anybody got the revision kit? Sabanya, whoever that is, let them know if it's worth it, because I think it's. I think it is. It's working so well for students. Enthalpy of solution question, what's the mass for the calculation? Enthalpy of solution question, what's the mass for the calculation? If you use an MC delta T, the mass is always the volume of the liquid in centimeters cubed, because we always assume 1 gram per centimeter cubed. So the mass, even though if you're adding something solid into it, the mass is the mass of solution, not the mass of any solid, okay? That's what I would say. What mass of sodium reacts with water to give 900 centimeter cubed of hydrogen gas? Oh, you have to work backwards on that. Okay, you can't give me random calculation questions to do in my head. But at room temperature and pressure, you're going to be using the molar gas volume, which is 24 decimeter cubed at room temperature and pressure. So if you've got 960 centimeter cubed, you can use 2,400 centimeter cubed, okay, and scale it, and it'll tell you how many moles you've got of hydrogen, and then you can work out how many moles of sodium, and then you can turn that into a mass. That's all I'll say. Iftikhar, great question on AQA, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 for level of response questions. Yes, to a certain extent. I mean, if you did it completely backwards, then you're going to lose marks, aren't you? But if you flip between 1 and 2 a little bit, and then between 2 and 3, it's not a big deal, in all honesty with you, okay? I mean, they'd like to see a logical progression in your answer. And you know what? That's their best guess as to what a logical progression is. And a lot of the time, you know, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So, you know, they will give you a bit of wiggle room there, okay? So it's down to their judgment call a lot of the time. Those are just guidelines for that. But I would use that as a guideline for a sensible, coherent, logical answer. Quizlet for key terms. Yeah, Quizlet's pretty good. Yeah, so you can work online, you can work on your phone. That's great. No cap today, Harris. I just, like I said, I went for a run. I just got out of the shower. So, yeah, I was a bit hot. You got around to doing cables and two over Half-Life. I've been recording some today on Half-Life. I'm doing some more tomorrow, and they'll be up at the beginning of next week. Okay, for those of you doing that. For enthalpy displacement, what's the moles of the solid or solution in Q over N? Enthalpy of displacement, it's the limiting factor. So one of them is going to be a limiting reagent. You're going to have more moles of one than the other. You use the one that's got the fewest moles. That's always the rule, because if it doesn't get involved in a reaction, if it's in excess, then it's shouldn't be counted in your enthalpy calc. So whichever one, whether it's the ion in solution or the solid, whichever one is the limiting one, which is not in excess, that's the number of moles you use. Is there a question by topic for chem being done for past papers section on TT? Hell yeah. Okay, question by topic. That's what the revision kit's all about. So you've got all the past paper questions for the new spec in order for all 3 exam boards. And then we've taken your exam board and the relevant questions from the other exam boards and put them in a massive section by topic. I've also collated all the big calculation questions, so it doesn't matter what topic they are, they're just a huge section on big calcs, And there's a huge section on level of response questions and multiple choice questions as well. So there's loads and loads to go out there. No worries, Ice Streaky. Yeah, it doesn't matter if the car, absolutely. I don't think it really matters. I think there's a bit of wiggle room there. So don't worry too much about it. Just as logical as you can give your answer. That's my advice to you. I've only used the guided past papers at the moment. Would you recommend we work through action hours? Okay, yeah, Ultimate Guide and Revision Kit work really well together, Kazuto. All right, so do some action hours. If you haven't been using the Revise with Riches, they haven't got many plays. Not a lot of people are using them, but trust me, those things I'm asking you to do in those Revise with Riches, you don't have to sit there with me for the 45 minutes. I mean, you can just go in and get the information. But the Revise with Riches, those are the techniques for revising certain topics that I think are the most important, and the topics that are the most important to be revising. So action hours, certainly the way forward. Use those action hours as a consequence of the past papers you've done. So do a past paper. Oh, I bombed that question on intermolecular forces. Right, back to the drawing board, maybe go back to the Ultimate Guide, check out some videos, just watch them, and then have a go at some questions on bonding and intermolecular forces as well. Kind of hard to find those as an example, because they tend to just crop up as little 1 or 2 markers within bigger questions. But yeah, use action hours on the back of those key areas that your weak areas that you found from the past papers. On buffer calculations, which side do I add the moles to? That's quite a vague question there, right? Do you want to elaborate on that for me? How do you work out limiting factors? Well, I mean, you got 2 reactants. You got the number of moles of one, and you can find the number of moles of the other, okay? Unless they say A is in excess, that way you can assume that B is the limiting reagent. To find the limiting number of moles, it's just find the number of moles of each, okay? Whichever one there's fewest moles of, that's your limiting reagent. But be careful. If there's a ratio there, a 2 to 1, or 3 to 1, or 3 to 2, if it's not 1 to 1, then it's not always the one that's got the fewest moles, okay? It might be the one with the greatest number of moles, but not all of them get used. So yeah, just be careful, okay? You can find it, but a lot of the time it's kind of given in the question by them saying 1 is in excess. Yes, I was going to get to that, Robin. AS paper 2's tomorrow, so it's all about organic for you AS people tomorrow. Not too bad for AS. You feel like there's a lot to learn, you just wait till next year. Yeah, best advice is use those cheat sheets in the Ultimate Guide. Make sure you know all your interconversions and your mechanisms that you need to know for the exam, and that covers, like, I would say, nearly 2/3 of the paper. Okay, it's just that aliphatic kind of, changing from one molecule to another. And my best advice: work with functional groups, not with molecules. Don't look at the molecule as a whole. Say to yourself, right, it's got that, that, and that. It's got an alkene, it's got an alcohol, and it's got a carboxylic acid on it. Okay, so work with functional groups, not with the entire molecules, because they're going to be molecules you've never seen before. But don't let that worry you. But you do know the functional groups in there. Oh, this is moving quite quick now. Can you go through the type question? Maniha, can you go through the titration question on 20 Singleton paper AQA about ethanoate ions, please? Not right now, because we've only got another 10 minutes and I want to dish out some more advice and get you guys sharing some good practice. And as I said before, if you just joined us, we're sharing some good practice. If you've got a great method of revising a certain topic, then put it in the chat. Share the love, folks. In terms of going through those, the 2017 question, it's in the revision kit. Okay, I've gone through every single new past paper in the revision kit, analyzing the question, doing the question, and then going through the mark scheme and looking at where the errors might creep in and stuff like that. So if you want stuff like that, if that's the kind of thing you're looking for at the moment, that's the revision kit. Back titration again in there, bobble bop. Okay, that's all in the revision kit. Reaction rates. In fact, my web class is on rates of reaction tonight. So my web class, it starts at 6 o'clock for Ultimate Guide subscribers. We're doing like the practical side of rates, and then we're looking at like the A2, like the year 2 stuff in terms of rates, like looking at orders of reaction, looking at the rate equation and the dreaded Arrhenius equation too. So if you've got an Ultimate Guide, you can join me at 6 o'clock. I'll tell you all about rates. What do I mean by action hours? Okay, action hours is an hour, obviously, as it says in the name, but it's 45 minutes solid work. All right, headphones in, all distractions away, phone off, everything you need in front of you, start a timer. 45 minutes, that timer finishes, you stop and you take a 15-minute break. But make sure you get up and wander around, okay? Go and make a brew, take the dog for a walk, just go and stand in the back garden for a bit, get some fresh air, whatever you need to do, just get away from that desk and think about other stuff. You know, you can go on your phone for 15 minutes, but that's not really kind of letting your mind wander free and just getting some headspace, is it? So yeah, and that's what an action hour is. And that's, we swear by these at TT. Better to do 3 action hours, okay? So you've got 45, 45, 45, and taking those 15-minute breaks than doing 3 hours solid revision, because your brain gets tired. And trust me, that 15-minute break, you'll feel so much more refreshed. And those 45 minutes, they fly by and you get loads done. So in essence, that's what an action hour is. And that's what, you know, our kind of mantra, if you like, in TT come this time of year is all about. Okay. PDF is up on the website already. Can you find the conjugate base, or how do you find the conjugate base or acid? Well, basically they look like each other. All right. So if you've got ethanoic acid, okay, on one side of an equation, then you end up with the ethanoate ion, the negative ion on the other side. That's the conjugate base, because the conjugate base has the ability to accept the hydrogen ion and go back to its original form. So they look like each other. Okay, that's what I would say. Conjugate acid, acid and its conjugate base, and a base and its conjugate acid. So if you've got NH3 as a base, then it goes to NH4 plus. NH4 plus will be the conjugate acid, because it's got the potential to release that hydrogen ion again and become NH3. That's the way I think about it anyway. In required practical 10, what's the reason for compressing the crystals in a funnel? Compressing the crystals in a funnel, recrystallization. That basically means as the vacuum's created, it draws air through the crystals rather than around them, and it dries them better. Okay, it takes all the water out better. It makes it more efficient. That's why we do it. Can't do mechanisms at all. And the paper's tomorrow. Blah blah blah. I mean, if you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber, then you can check out the mechanisms in there. I think, you know, you need, make a list of the mechanisms you need to know. Get the spec up on your computer, search Control F on the PDF mechanism, and you'll come up with the mechanisms you need to know. For AS, I think there's probably 4 mechanisms if you're AQA, fewer than that if you're OCR and NXL. There's not many at all at AS, okay? So just, you can do that in an action hour. You can do that in 45 minutes. Put your mind to it, write all 4 of them down, or 3, or however many there are, on one piece of paper, okay? And you've just got to memorize them. That's the best thing I can advise you for tomorrow. Hydroxyl and alcohols, nothing. Okay, so if you say 2-hydroxy propane, that's basically the same as propan-2-ol. Okay, so hydroxyl group, hydroxy group, alcohol, they're all the same thing. Summarize what should I, if I have my, what if I should do if I have my exams in 5 weeks? Past papers. It's what everyone's been doing, okay, at this time of year. So past papers, the TT method, past paper, closed book, time conditions, focus, probably not in your own house. Go somewhere else to do it, okay? Time yourself and do a full past paper, and then spend some time marking it and analyzing it. And those little areas, hopefully little areas where you fell down on in the exam, go away and focus on those in terms of your revision, okay? Because what you got right, obviously you're smashing, aren't you, okay? So just do that. That's the best thing I can advise you to do. I've lost the chat. Okay, so there's so many equations. I mean, equations, yes. I mean, there are a lot to remember. Mainly for like group 2 and stuff like that. There's a lot of different equations to remember, but in terms of half equations, it's, you know, I would say the half equations to learn for like redox titrations are your manganate, your dichromate, your thiosulfate, and your oxalate. Okay, so manganate, dichromate, thiosulfate, and oxalate half equations. I remember those because it's going to make your life so much easier when you get to the any redox questions. But it's about the skill of writing a balanced equation a lot of the time as well. Okay, a lot of the time you can work out what's going on based on the reactants they give you and or the products. So it's not about remembering loads, but being able to have that skill of writing them based on the information they give you. Do we need to memorize equations of homogeneous catalysts in transition metals for AQA? There's a couple that you need to remember, I would say. Definitely the V2O5 in the contact process, that's always handy. I think whatever ones I've put in the ultimate guide, they're the ones to remember. That's what I would say. Where's the chem cheat sheet? Chem cheat sheet is in the ultimate guide. It is it's in the ultimate guide, and it is in, what section is it in? Organic synthesis section. That's all that's in there is a PDF. That's the organic chemistry cheat sheet, and that's the only chemistry cheat sheet we've got. Proton NMR questions. Yeah, everyone struggles with them. What do you analyze first? Well, I always tend to, before I go headstrong into a question where they give you lots of different information like IR, mass spec, proton NMR, carbon-13 NMR, go with the basic information that you've got first, okay? And then get more and more detailed. So what does it tell you? Right, well, the mass spec can tell you what the MR is by looking at the molecular ion peak. Then the infrared will tell you what bonds are present. Then maybe you've got the number of carbon environments or the number of hydrogen environments, just the number of peaks in the HNMR, and then get into splitting last. Splitting is always the last thing I go into. So think macro, think the big things it's telling you, and then get down to the nitty gritty by looking at splitting patterns. That's my advice. Okay, so how do you name it hydroxy if there's more than one OH functional group? So dihydroxy. Okay, so if there's two OHs, dihydroxy or trihydroxy. So we always use, just the name or di or tri. That's how we do that. Formation of hexamine cobalt chloride. Whoa, I have just lost the chat completely. Okay, so too many questions, folks, too many questions. Class tonight is only for subscribers, guys. We've only got a couple of minutes left. Yeah, transition metals can be very confusing, okay? There's, yeah, 2-hydroxy or hydroxyl. It doesn't matter. It's hydroxy we tend to stick to, okay? Hydroxy we tend to stick to. You got an English exam tomorrow? Well, that's fine. Maybe you're just here for a bit of a chat. Magnesium ions don't have a flame color because they don't emit photons in the visible spectrum, only in the UV. It's always subscription for bio, but will the chem class be on YouTube at 6 p.m. tonight? It won't, Abin, okay? It won't. You have to be a chemistry subscriber to join me in that web class. Where's the class again? Do have the revision ultimate. Okay, so the class, if you are an ultimate guide subscriber and you want to do some stuff on rates with me, then you need to register within the next 20 minutes, and you register by going into the live web classes course in your my courses page, chemistry live classes or web classes. You find one on today's date, click register here. I tend to click the button about 5 to 6, and that basically send you an email with a link on, and you click that link and you can join me in the web class. Okay, so go to the one for the 22nd of May, register, and I have to check. You have to use the same email as your TT subscription, and I'll let you in. I'll send you the link. Okay, after cart, yeah, I can do that. Like I said, I would check before last call. Candy Floss, that's what I was just saying. Okay, so go over to the live web class as an Ultimate Guide subscriber, into the live classes, click on the 22nd, which is today. It's about rates and it's about Arrhenius equation and kinetics, and just click register. Fill in the details, put your email address in, the email address that you use to subscribe to TT, and then you've registered. And what I do just before the web class is I send out an email to that email address and with a link in, and that link takes you to the web class at 6 o'clock. Okay. Hey, Visnu. Outline how to participate. So if you want to participate in the web class, there's a chat just like this. It's a bit more interactive because it's instant. YouTube, there's a bit of a delay, maybe like a 5 to 10 second delay on YouTube at any one point, which is why you type a question and it takes me ages to answer it. But yeah, it's very instant, so we can chat in the web class, no problem. Okay. So anybody got any last minute tips or tricks for revision? Pop them in the chat. I will be back live on YouTube at 5 o'clock next Wednesday, and it is the last one before the A-level paper 1. For those of you that have got your AS paper 2 tomorrow, good luck. Okay, don't forget, if you're going to focus on anything, focus on your organic, because the rest is just like calculations and stuff, and you've probably done hundreds of those already. Okay, so focus on your organic conversions. Use the cheat sheet in the Ultimate Guide if you're an Ultimate Guide subscriber. And that's very good advice. Work and the results will come. You get out what you put in. The thing is, you work hard now. It doesn't matter what I say. You know what? It doesn't matter what grade you get, okay? Because you know that you worked hard and you couldn't have done anything more. You used every single resource available to you and you worked hard and you did it the right way and you were efficient with your learning and your revising. There's nothing worse than getting a pup grade and you think, oh, I wish I'd worked a bit harder. All right, but at least if you've worked hard, and you're like, well, that's it. That's what I've got. Okay, obviously, you know, it's you know, if you do put the work in, you're going to get a higher grade. Of course, you are really. Complex ions, flashcards, 100% flashcards. That's the way forward with those. Okay, so the name, I'll say the name, but the name of the element on the front. And then let's see if you can remember the formulae and the colors of each of those complex ions for that element. So copper, for example, and so on and so forth. Okay, flashcards, definitely. If you've done them all, simply wonder if you've done them all twice. If you haven't done them all twice, do them again. Okay, I would go through the paper ones you've got available to you. Even if it's, obviously for a week on Tuesday. Yeah, if you need to do them at least twice, you need to be getting closed book, do them again each time, closed book, and if you're getting the grade above the grade you want, then that's the time to bin it off and do a different one. Okay, just continue with past papers. If your knowledge is good, but if you find whilst doing past papers there's a gap in your knowledge and something, if you couldn't remember something, then obviously spend an action hour revising that. Okay, so iMuzzy subscription, if you want to get the Ultimate Guide, that is $49, and that's, you're only going to need 1 month, aren't you? So $49, it is a subscription, but you can cancel before the end of it. $49 for 1 month, that gets you the Ultimate Guide, which is all the content. And whilst you've got that, you can get the revision kit for $29, which is all the past paper questions that I go over and all the revision techniques and topics and stuff like that. Or if you just want the revision kit, that's $49 as well. So $49 each. Okay, if you want just one of them, so they're both $49. But if you want the revision kit as an Ultimate Guide subscriber, it's $29. So there's a 20 quid discount on there for you. Okay, right. I am going to go because I got to get ready for my web class, and you guys should be revising. So I will see you next Wednesday. We'll talk paper 1 stuff next Wednesday. Okay, because obviously the following Tuesday, that's the A-level paper 1. All right, so I'm going to leave you guys go. I'm going to get prepped for my web class. If you haven't signed up already and as an Ultimate Guide subscriber, then make sure you do, and I will see you at 6 o'clock. If not, okay. Oh, in fact, if you want more chat like this, make sure you sign up to our Discord, okay? Our Discord group. Let me just see if I can find the link for the invite. How do I find the invite? Anybody know how I find the link to a Discord group? Anybody want to tell me? Invite people. Ah, there it is. Okay, so boom, link to our Discord group. If you want to join the chat, it's moderated by me, but most of the chat's for you guys. Then yeah, join that, and you can talk to other people in your exam board for chemistry and talk about top tips for revision and stuff like that. So go ahead and join that if you want. Right, I'll see you next Wednesday, guys. Hey Dex, how you doing? Say goodbye.